Hello, everyone. It's Marco with Coding Launch, and I'm alongside Zane here with Coding Launch. And in today's training and masterclass, we're going to be going over sort of the concrete coding masterclass on marketing playbook for 2025. So as we come to another year end here and we go into 2025, we want to talk about some of the marketing strategies that are working in today's market for concrete coating companies. And we'll kind of start off with some of the common challenges for growing your concrete coating company. Okay. And there's probably 1,000 under the sun, but we're going to review kind of three main challenges that we see in the concrete coating industry right now. The first one is inconsistent lead flow. So some of the causes for inconsistent lead flow would be sort of lack of your marketing strategy, seasonal demand fluctuations, over reliance on word of mouth, and then also Zane, like recently we've seen obviously the election and then Black Friday and holiday advertising and things like that is probably affecting inconsistent lead flow, right?
Yeah, big time. Obviously, a lot of spend on Facebook means auctions are more competitive, therefore driving CPMs up a bit. So definitely a little bit harder time to get a better return on ad spend currently, but coming into the new year, February, March, super strong months. So want to be geared up for those.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the solutions that you guys will learn in today's training is we're going to talk about, setting up a reliable ad campaigns in Facebook and Google, specifically those two platforms. And then also we'll talk a little bit more about building a local SEO presence. I don't believe that you should hire an SEO company to just do SEO for you. I believe you should kind of break it down into some of the basics as to like what you feel like you should get done and hire independent people to get those things done. And so we'll talk about kind of what that looks like and how to actually generate consistent leads going into 2025. And that way you can actually, grow your company consistently. What we see a lot is like somebody's trying to go from 2 crews to 3 crews or 1 to 2. And if they don't have a consistent lead flow, what's going to happen is they can't even get that second crew going. So, they need to be confident that the marketing is working and, that way they can grow. Okay. The second thing we've noticed here is terrible lead quality. So some of the causes that we've seen with lead quality would be like poor targeting in your ad copy or in your ad campaigns. And so if you have, poor targeting, typically that's going to lead to a low quality lead. And then the second thing I sort of mapped out here is, if you're not very clear with your, like on our ad scene, we like specifically say like get free quote, get quote now. And like, you have to have those type of, headlines and stuff like that if you want to generate leads that actually have a next step. And then obviously you want to have a pipeline, to manage like high quality leads and then kind of, as you follow up with leads. Zane, what are the, some clients use drip jobs and stuff like that, but what are some things you recommend as far as like managing the pipeline, that sort of thing?
Yeah, the biggest thing being people are harder to get on the phone now than ever before. With spam calls, with so many auto texts. I don't know about you guys during the election season, but I was getting like 5 random text messages a day regarding the election. So a lot of these spam calls and spam texts have definitely just made it a lot harder to get people to elicit a response. Versus like when you used to send an automated text message, it would be pretty easy to get somebody to look at that text message. People are just disregarding those text messages a lot more now than ever. So what I really like to do from a follow-up process or recommend is when you make that phone call, always double dial. So your doctor calls twice. It's important. People have do not disturb on. If they don't recognize your phone number, they may not answer either. So always recommend you call its voicemail, call right back. And then from there, I like to send a text, leave a voicemail and an email all within 5 minutes. So they know that it's very cohesive, that it's you reaching out. So yeah, it's just getting people on the phone is the hard part. Setting the appointment from there is usually a little bit easier, but yeah, definitely want to hammer the leads in the right way.
Yeah. And we have a complete like 5-point lead follow-up system that we give to all of our clients. And, We can give that to you guys if you're listening in here live. We'll send that over to you guys. I'll actually just put let me see here. I'm going to put my phone number here in the chat, and just send me a text, and we'll actually give you that 5-point lead follow-up system for you guys. So just send me a text if you're here listening live, and I'll send you that 5-point lead follow-up to your messages there. But yeah, some of the things we'll talk about again is like how to actually convert these leads and get them paying, and then the last thing I've noticed is, if you don't know where to start, that's, sort of a big challenge that a lot of concrete coating companies are having right now is, there's too many platforms and tools to choose from. There's Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube, there's like all these different platforms. And if you don't really have any clarity on where to start, then you're just not really going to do anything. And so you want to have a really good understanding of digital marketing. And that's obviously why we do things like this, to train you guys on how to know the basics, and then like who to hire for each of the specific items. And then also people just fear wasting money, like you always hear the stories where, somebody spends 20, 15, $10,000 in an SEO company and nothing happened. And so, you want to mitigate that from happening, obviously. Right. And today we'll kind of break down a step-by-step marketing roadmap for your concrete coating company. And then we'll also kind of show you some ROI strategies, so that way you can sort of grow and amplify your business. Okay. And the companies that succeed are those that take risks, obviously. So like going into the winter and things are slowing down. That's normal for this industry. It's a little bit of a seasonal business. And so you want to adapt and focus on things that are going to, raise awareness around your company and be able to land more jobs. Like recently we're doing a lot of commercial ads. So like if somebody does commercial polished concrete, or they do epoxy or coatings in commercial industrial setting, then that's a really good time to double down on that during the winter time, because that's when these type of companies are getting their floors done, is in the winter time. And so if you do residential and you can also do that, maybe it's time to sort of focus some of your efforts on that stuff, and I will tell you that Facebook ads is the #1 lead gen method for the concrete coating industry. That's just kind of what we noticed from our end. I mean, we spend millions of dollars in Facebook ads, and we've kind of come to understand that, if you had to choose between Facebook or Google or YouTube or whatever, Facebook is the best for concrete coatings. Okay. And you're able to reach homeowners and commercial property owners. That's where they spend their time, is online on Facebook and Instagram, and they're scrolling around just like you and I. So, you want to be able to target them directly on there. Some of the strategies that we recommend here, obviously you want to narrow down your targeting. So like, you don't want to narrow it too far down, but you want to narrow it enough where you're targeting the homeowners or your ideal person. So like if we're trying to figure out, where the commercial people are at and try to get commercial leads through Facebook, we're going to target interests and lookalikes that make up that type of person. So building owner, property manager, someone who's going to make a decision on a commercial property is typically going to fit into a certain bucket. And so, that's why we're going to sort of target things like that. And then just make it stupid simple, like literally get a free quote. Like if you ran an ad and of a beautiful floor and you said, get a free quote, people are going to see visually that it's a good floor, and, get a free quote just means you're going to get a quote. So click on it, right, Zane? A lot of like we don't try to complicate our ad copy or anything like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember what is the goal behind the specific ad, and it's not necessarily to pre-sell the product or service. It's to capture somebody's information who express interest in your product or service, and typically it's the job of the sales guy to go out there and sell the product, whether that's you as a business owner or you have a sales team in place. We have split tested long ad copy versus short ad copy, and short ad copy with an easy CTA usually wins 8 out of 10 times. There are circumstances where long ad copy has its place, and you're really trying to value prop through your ad copy about what makes you different and what makes you unique. But again, like people's browsing habits, it's rare that you can get somebody to sit down for 5 minutes to learn a ton about your business unless they're super qualified, and the chances are they're going to go to Google, that type of customer. Facebook ads is definitely how many leads can we get in the door, what's our conversion rate on those leads, is it profitable, cool, let's scale it up. So definitely not doing too much pre-selling on a Facebook standpoint. Our only job is to say, okay, you got a pulse, you're interested in this product or service, great. Let's get a sales guy out there.
Yeah. Awesome. And here's just one example of a client of ours, Performance Floors and Coding. They're winning really big with Facebook ads. They're based out of Tampa, Florida area, and you can see here that what you want to you can see it spent $8,000, 191 in Facebook ads in November. Okay, they generated 264 leads in just 1 month. That's an average cost per lead of about $31. So it's not always about getting a $10 lead or a $5 lead, or obviously you want to have a reasonable cost per lead, but as long as people are converting into estimates, and then they're converting from estimates into like actual paying customers, and that's what matters, right? And so you can see here, I mean, they spent $8,000 in ad spend, and they generated 25 jobs. This was during the month of November, and their average ticket size was $3,300. So 25 jobs, out of $8,000 in spend, that's about a $320 cost per acquisition on your ad spend. So if you spend $300 in Facebook, you're generating 1 job. Okay. And so that's a pretty typical return. And that's what you should be shooting for. Let's say you're at like $500-$600 to acquire that job, you're just paying too much money in ads to generate 1 job. It becomes unprofitable because you're just paying too much to acquire that customer. And so it's kind of a vending machine. You put money in, you get out. And so you have to be able to have that sort of return. If you're looking for something similar to this, then obviously we could help you with that, whether it's your Facebook ads or your Google ads. But just a solid example there. And some of the performance metrics that we recommend you should track, kind of like we talked about right there on the previous slide, is you're obviously going to have your cost per lead. So what does it cost to get somebody who's interested in floor coatings? And then your click-through rate is something we're going to look at. Like obviously as a business, you're not going to measure that as importantly. And then cost per booked appointment is for your sales. So what does it cost in ad spend to essentially get an appointment, where you go out there and you measure their garage floor, you measure their job, and you give them a quote. And then lead to customer conversion rate is the other thing that you're going to want to measure, is like, how many leads does it take to get a customer? And, through that, then you can figure out what it costs to, acquire a customer, just kind of like we did on the previous slide here, where it costs them $320 to get a customer, and their average job is $3,300. So that's under 10% of their average job. And that tells you that it's working. Okay. So these are some of the things that you're going to want to track, as you're running those ads. Now, some common mistakes on Facebook that we see that a lot of people could avoid. A couple things here. Number one is your poor targeting. So you want to define your audience. We've seen it where clients, like when we come into their ad account and they're targeting all of the United States, like obviously that's a very basic error or mistake, is like targeting all of the US by accident. So just make sure your targeting is dialed in. If you're getting terrible leads, the first thing you should look at is your targeting. Like, is it correct? And the second mistake we see is, weak or generic creatives. So obviously you want to use professional visuals and compelling copy that's actually going to convert somebody from someone interested to actually clicking on your ad. It's going to require them to click on it in order to move forward. And so just make it compelling, make it professional and not have a basic ad there. The third mistake I kind of wrote down here on the slides was just neglecting follow-up. So if you're generating Facebook leads and you're spending all this money and you're not taking care of it, like Zane was saying earlier, is, if you're not calling them, if you're not double calling them, or you're not following an actual follow process, then you're just kind of throwing money down the drain. Like you might as well just throw it out the window at that point, because not every Facebook lead is going to be a lay down. you know, and you want to integrate your Facebook ads with your CRM. So like if you're on High Level or you're on Drip Jobs or House Call Pro, integrate your leads with that platform. And so that way they can get some automation, maybe an email or text or two. So that way they hear from your company more than just you calling them. So that, that should help as well. But other than these three kind of main mistakes, Zane, is there anything that comes to mind as far as like, working with clients, and what do you see out there?
Yeah, some of the main things is disabling Advantage Plus campaign options in Facebook. So Advantage Plus on Facebook allows Facebook to show the ad to people who express interest in your specific area. So if you're getting a large amount of out of area leads, it's boiled down to two issues typically. One is not proper geofencing, and two is having Advantage Plus turned on. Advantage Plus again just means that if I'm in Phoenix and I express interest on Facebook, let's say in St. Louis or some of these other areas, I can see an ad for a client in St. Louis, right? Now the other thing is if I go and I fly in to a certain area, and I'm there for 2 days, or maybe I have a layover in the airport for a few hours, and I see an ad while I'm there, due to data privacy laws that were passed back in 2019, Facebook will now show you that ad for up to 72 hours after you leave that area. And it's weirdly due to the fact that you can't target people exclusively living in a certain area, only people who are frequently in a certain area. And I wish we could go back to the old ways. Unfortunately, we can't. Who knows, maybe this next administration will usher in some deregulation on that front. But those are two of the main issues that I see. So make sure that you have the major airports, metropolitan areas, airports excluded out. And then if you have a ton of out of area leads, add hard geofencing via negative exclusions around your entire area. The other thing that we've been testing a lot lately is zip codes as well. Zip codes sometimes work really, really well, and sometimes they don't. And then interest targeting. So making sure that we're split testing demo versus interest to ensure that we can get the best result there. We've noticed a lot more in area leads with interest, as well as a higher quality lead. Again, Facebook is just a feedback mechanism, which means the more people that interact with your ad and convert on your ad, the more Facebook is going to show it to similar audiences. So if bad leads are interacting with your ad, you will get more bad. If good is interacting with your ad, you will get more good. So staying on top of that is super important.
Yeah, it's solid. And something that you had said is adding negative exclusion. So like basically you have your targeting option where you select, okay, I'm in Metro Atlanta, but I don't want to target, South Atlanta. Then you can actually exclude different parts of Atlanta based off of that. That's golden. That way you can, get more leads from the area of town that you want more leads from, not from the bad neighborhoods or from the bad part of town. That's something that we see a lot of people implementing recently. Creating high converting ad creatives is obviously super important. Visuals that grab attention. So use high resolution before and afters, for project photos. Include images of your team working. Those are always ones that build trust, and showcase the process, of what it takes, for a customer to be happy. I have an example here. I'll just kind of share my screen, and this is a client from Georgia. I mean, you can see here that we're doing a lot of creative testing and a lot of ads in here. Of course, you have a bigger budget, but you want to obviously have a lot of ads. You can see these creatives are super high quality. It's not like a low. You look at this one here. You can, it's not a low resolution image. It's a high resolution image. You can see what's going on here. It's very clear. Tells you exactly what it is, and stuff like this. Before and afters of the same project, showing the before and the after, how it goes from ugly to to amazing looking. So, ads like this are going to work. You could take a couple screenshots of what you see on here and maybe implement something like this similar for your coding business. Same thing goes for videos too. The videos that we create for the concrete cutting companies we work with, high quality as well. Some are not like super like high production value where, it's, you got scripts and all this other stuff, but like what matters is that the customer or the prospect can see what is on the video. And so if you're showing a floor being worked on or the before and after of it being transformed, then that's all that matters. You can make it professional and all this other stuff as well. But a couple ad copy tips: focus on the benefits. So like transform your garage with durable, stunning coatings, or, use urgency, like limited spots available this month. Some of the clients that have winter promos or, for Thanksgiving and Black Friday and stuff like that, but like Thanksgiving promos and Thanksgiving home upgrades, those who created urgency by saying like there was limited spots available, the cost per lead, and you just have a lot more, results on that. And then of course use a very strong call to action. All of our ads use a very strong call to action. You can see here, it literally just tells you exactly what the next step is. Get your quote. Get your quote. Obviously this is a financing ad, but if you just tell them exactly what the next step is, people will follow. And that's why we do stuff like that for the Facebook ads. Okay. The anatomy of a Facebook ad, if you guys could see the example here, at the very top is going to be your hook. And then, below that's going to be sort of your body copy of the ad itself. The hook is meant to call out the audience. So if you're looking for commercial, buildings, looking for commercial coating leads, then you would put like, commercial building owners, are you looking to upgrade your floors this winter? For homeowners, you're going to say Georgia homeowners, or whatever state you're in, homeowners. And then obviously you have the body copy and then the call to action at the bottom of the copy. And then, you have your creative. And then down here where it says get your quote, and then it's got the arrow, that's simply going to be your main headline. And again, you want to be very clear as to what's in that headline. And then below that is the description. So we put, warranty information and other sort of features and benefits that the prospect should know of if they're looking to get it done there. So really awesome. Looks like David commented, those GA guys are legit. It's actually his company. So awesome. All right. Here's some of the results you can expect from following some of those steps. So, you can see here, this is a screenshot of an ad set. 241 leads at $36 a lead. One ad set was $31 a lead for 126 leads. So if you just follow the process here and not reinvent the wheel, you're going to get results, and so I encourage you to just kind of follow, don't reinvent the wheel, just kind of do what works, Let's talk about Google Ads for a second. So Google Ads has been a big topic in discussion on our end. For the concrete coating industry, of course it works. For any industry, of course it works. But I will say Google Ads aren't quite as effective for coating businesses as it is for other companies like roofing and plumbing and HVAC and stuff like that. It doesn't mean don't do it. It just means it's not as effective, in my opinion. So keep that in mind. Make sure that your expectations are set right with it. Now, why do Google Ads? Well, obviously if you were to search on Google, I searched it here. If I search epoxy garage floor, we're based in Phoenix. So I search this keyword here. And these are Google Ads here at the top. This is a Google ad here. These are Google search ads. And then this is obviously the organic section where you start seeing more of the organic SEO results. But this section is becoming more and more prevalent. There's not necessarily a category for concrete coating quite yet. And then this is your Google search ads. So these are PPC ads. And of course you want to rank here, right? As long as you can, bid and you're willing to set your bid high enough where it pops up at the top of the screen. Because whoever pops up at the top is typically bidding the highest on the keyword. So if somebody has more budget to spend, they're going to pop up more often than your company. Okay. So it's sort of a pay to play model. But from a high level, Zane, I wanted to ask you, like, from your opinion, because you're working with a lot of our clients, here at the company and, with Google Ads, what's your experience been so far with, this year with some of that?
Yeah. Again, Google Ads is contingent on search volume. So if there's not a lot of search volume for your product or service in the area, then obviously you're not going to win any clicks and you're not going to win any business. Now, Google, same thing with data privacy. The targeting has been a little bit skewed as well. Now, the cost per lead is always a little bit higher on Google. I mean, we find an average of 70 to 120 bucks is pretty typical, par for the course. You got to make sure that your set rate is maintaining, 50-ish% for it to make financial sense from a Google perspective. And typically that's the case. The other thing I kind of dislike about Google Ads is the time it takes to get, rolling properly. I mean, it's a 30 to 60 day period before you start to see any truly noticeable results because you're relying on clicks to come through and then optimizing, doing bid adjustments, things like that, geolocation adjustments, and you have to get clicks before you can make those changes. Whereas Facebook, you're kind of forcing the ad down people's throats and it's up to them to click on. Yeah, it's a lower quality lead, but you can generate more of them. Google, you don't really have that option. Now, Google does have an option called Performance Max campaigns. It's basically Facebook's competitor. And Performance Max will put your ad on all of Google's partner sites. It'll show up in Gmail. It'll show up on YouTube. It'll show up on search. It'll basically find the best place to show your ad to. The issue with it is you tend to get a lot of spam. We've had great success with PM and terrible success with PM. So, yeah, I mean, great leads, a little bit more inconsistent, if you will, because you have to have search volume. In the winter, it tends to go down a little bit. On a commercial front, Google Ads is a little bit better because a lot of these bigger companies or general contractors, building owners, business owners might go to Google first. But yeah, they have a time and place, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because the cost per lead is definitely higher for Google Ads, but the quality and obviously conversion rate on those leads typically is higher as well. So like if you get a Google lead, typically they're going to be setting an appointment. So if you're paying $100 for a Google lead, and 50% of your leads from Google set appointments where you give them a quote, you go out there and measure the floor, then it makes sense because it's just a higher conversion rate but a higher cost per lead. So just have the right expectations going into it. And of course you want to own page Google, page number one on Google. Like if you want to rank SEO, but also Google Ads on page one. So, back to the example here, a good example locally would be Pricer's garage door company, Phoenix, because people in Phoenix know who this company is, but A1 garage doors is everywhere. So like if I search anything garage door, you can see that A1 is running a Google ad, a PPC ad right up top. And you can see here the first company who's on the organic section is A1 Garage Door Service with, 10,000 Google reviews now, which is just completely mind-boggling. If I scroll down a little bit further, you can see here that the second local SEO is A1 Garage Door. And I would argue, they're higher up, as far as number one on most keywords, but let's do garage door repair. Phoenix, let's see where everything's at. So you can see here A1 is again running an ad. You see A1 is right up here in the Google local service map. And then looks like they're number 4 here on this keyword. So they're owning page 1 of Google. And of course you want to do that in your local community. So if you're in a big metro area, it might be a little more difficult to do this, but if you're in a smaller town, within a couple months, if you just do a couple things properly, you can rank on page 1 and you could have your ad right up top, and then you could be in the local map section, and then you could also be in the organic section. And the whole idea is the more you pop up, the more opportunities you're going to have in your pipeline. And like I said earlier, Google Ads have a higher buyer intent, which means you'll have a higher rate of buying. Whereas on Facebook, people are just kind of scrolling, they see your ad and they're like, oh, I want that for Christmas, or, I want that potentially. And so, you're going to have more flakes on Facebook, whereas on Google, it should be higher quality, if you will. But the problem with that is you can't create the market. So now you're only, the most amount of leads you can get is what the market is willing to give you, because there's only so many people searching for that service in your area. So if you're in a big metro area, you have more opportunity. But if you're in a smaller town of 200,000 people, there's only so many people searching for that keyword. And so therefore, there's only so much business you can win. Okay. That was the example I pulled up earlier is, do it for yourself, wherever you're based at, Google will know where you're based at. So just grab this keyword. It's the biggest keyword. It has the most search volume in the epoxy flooring and concrete coating industry. Epoxy garage floor is by far the biggest keyword that is searched online. And so just grab that exact keyword and see who's ranking above you. See whose company has the most Google reviews. See who is running an ad on Google and has a PPC ad up at the top. Obviously, don't click on it, but just look at the examples of people who are winning in your local area and try to replicate what they're doing. Okay, that's oftentimes where it starts. And just a quick tip for your SEO. So, like as we talk about owning page one of Google, building citations is going to be super important. And a tool I recommend is called Bright Local. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm just going to search Bright Local. And it's a software company. It's super cheap, but it's an all-in-one SEO tool where you don't need to hire an SEO agency to do this for you. Like you could just go to this website and start a free trial. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to create an account and you're going to put in your name, your email, and your phone number. And you're going to put your company name. You're going to put all your details. So if I were to search up, an example here of somebody in town, like this company, garagefloorcoating.com. This is their business name. This is their category. They're a flooring company. Here's all their images. They have links to their website. They have their address in there. They're getting Google reviews. You can see here all of this stuff, their hours, their, all of the essentially name, NAP information is what they call it. Name, address, phone number. As long as your name, address, phone number is all consistent and you type that into Bright Local will actually go out there and create all these citations for you. And so citations are simply your business listings online across different websites like Yelp and stuff like that. And so this is going to improve your SEO rankings to make your business more discoverable online. And this will help build trust and authority with search engines. So that way you can, grow and scale and have more predictability with your local rankings. This will help you get to page one. If you don't have Bright Local or your SEO company's not doing that, just do it for yourself. It's super easy. And if you have any questions on it, we can kind of direct you in the right place as well. Okay. And some of the top citation platforms for coding businesses, obviously, number one is your Google business profile, which most of you guys already have. And then the second one is Yelp. The third one's Angie. The fourth is Home Advisor. So those are a couple of different, examples of citations that you should definitely get your business listed on. And there's a long list of them as well. Bright Local will have a sort of a longer list that you should follow, but start with those main four starting out and then work on some of the other ones after. Okay. And just a ninja tip. I know I already mentioned it. I just want to stress it a little more on you guys is like, make sure it's all consistent information. So like your name, your address, and your phone number should be consistent. And if you don't have a business address, then try get one. Try get one so that way you can put it on all the platforms and it's visible to everyone. It doesn't mean people are going to show up to that address. You just want it to be consistent. So that way, it builds trust with Google and all of that. Obviously include relevant categories. So for the epoxy flooring and concrete coating industry, for our industry here, there's really no specific category there's no like category in Google that says epoxy flooring. And so you have to select flooring contractor. And I've also seen coating businesses do something called where it says concrete contractor. So both of those categories can work. Personally, I would put flooring because you're more of a flooring company than a concrete company. So until there's a specific category for that, just stick with flooring contractor for now. Okay. And something I wanted to put in here as well is like with your Google reviews. So if you want to dominate local search, you have to get Google reviews. Like it's just a non-negotiable. And Google reviews influence purchasing decision. 88% of consumers trust online reviews. So if you want to improve your rankings or improve the conversion rate or credibility of your company, Google reviews are quite simply the easiest thing to build to do that. And it'll show you how successful your business is as well. Like this is one of our clients; they have 453 Google reviews. This is at the time of the screenshot, but I imagine they have closer to 500 now. But like, you would think they're a $20-30 million company with how many reviews they have, but make your company look more established by getting more Google reviews. Even if you have one crew and you're doing 500 grand a year, get a Google review from every customer you service, and you won't regret it. You're gonna get more rankings, and you're ultimately gonna make more money. So here's sort of a 3-step system to getting more reviews. Okay, the first thing is ask every satisfied customer to leave a review. If you're in front of them at the job site, finishing it up, and they're happy and everything's going fine, have them pull up their phone and just show them how to leave a review. Because that's sometimes just the objection is like they don't know how to do it. Okay. Number 2 is send follow-up emails or text messages with direct links to leave a review. Most softwares do this. For example, drip jobs at the end of a job, and you drag that customer into done and the job is complete, then they should just automatically get a text, with a link to where they can, leave a review. That's a super solid way. And then also offer small incentives like discounts for honest reviews, or maybe, hey, we're going to give you a, $25 gift card or something like that. Obviously make sure it's all legit and everything, but sometimes we've seen that be super successful too. Is just, offering some sort of incentive, giving the customer something more than a good floor to just incentivize them to leave a review. And something you want to do online is respond to all of them, so positive and negative. If it's a negative review, respond to it professionally. If it's a positive review, of course, respond to it as well. And then in your marketing, something we do as well is we'll highlight key reviews in the marketing. So in the ad copy of your Facebook ads, put reviews in your ad copy. Stuff like that will build trust and credibility for more buyers online. Here's an example of a Google review. So like, Debbie Foot put, these guys are amazing. Very short, 6 days ago. And you can see Performance Floors responded. Thank you, Debbie. We're thrilled to hear that you had such a positive experience with us. Your support means a lot. So that was obviously a positive review, and just respond with more length. Don't respond with just like, thank you. Respond with more length. Typically that's going to do better for you. Turn your team into review champions. Nobody does this really, but get your employees engaged in this, and you can actually use different incentive ideas. Like you could bonus for reaching a set number of reviews, or maybe you can have some sort of competition with prizes for the most reviews collected. I've seen a floor coating business use that strategy, and it works really well. So you could say, let's say you got 5 crews, and they all do a floor a day because you're doing 1-day coatings. If whatever team gets the most Google reviews gets certain amount of Starbucks gift card or whatever, some sort of spiff, because if you can incentivize your team to work harder to get that review, they'll do it. But if they're not getting anything in return, or they don't see the reason why, then they probably won't ask for the review. It's just an extra step at the end of the installation when you do the final walkthrough with the customer. Just get them to leave a review. Zane, any thoughts on this? Like as far as clients that have reviews, because typically the clients that we work with that have more reviews are just more successful in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, something to note on Google is roughly 30% of traffic will go to paid ads, so sponsored ads. 30% will go to maps, organic traffic, and 30% will go to organic rankings on Google, and 10% will go to other. So you got to realize, like, a lot of traffic goes to maps for local businesses. And if somebody types in concrete coatings near me, concrete coating business near me, that's where it's going to trigger a lot of the maps action. The magic number is typically 25. So you want to get over 25 reviews on Google, ideally 5-star. And that's really when it becomes a ranking factor if you have competition in your local market. After that, definitely want to push for as many as possible, but the first 25 is super important.
Yeah. So like once you hit 25, you probably have like a boost in rankings, and Google all of a sudden trusts you a little bit more. But yeah, try things like this. Let me know how it goes. If you do some sort of team competition, or maybe you just give spiffs, if you have less crews, just give spiffs for things like that. And obviously, with your concrete coating company, there's going to be a lot to implement. Facebook ads, Google ads, local citations, Google reviews, team incentives, like all these things we talked about on this masterclass. Something I recommend is just focus on one thing and then go to the next. Don't try to do all of these things at once. So if I were to give you sort of a list of things to do, start with Facebook ads. Okay, start bringing in more leads in the door. But once you have more leads in the door and you're keeping your crew busy and things are kind of cranking a little bit, then you can start focusing on some other stuff. But oftentimes I see, a concrete coating company trying to run Google ads, run Facebook ads, try to get their, crews to do certain things, like all this other stuff all at once. And it's just cumbersome and it doesn't work in the long term. And so set up one of these platforms, get it working, and then focus on the next thing. And I mean, we've seen a lot of coating businesses operate just on Facebook ads alone, which is not a good thing. It's not something to be proud of, but it is pretty unique and crazy. Like you could operate a coating business and do a couple million a year just by running Facebook ads. And then by then you start getting word of mouth and stuff like that. But so just focus on one or two things and go ham at it until it works, and then start doing some of the other stuff. But other than that, if you guys are looking to, get marketing or get some extra support on that, of course, we can help you. Just go to our website, coatinglaunch.com. But, other than that, if we could be a free resource, go to our website. We have different trainings on there. We actually have a 7-figure sales process that we go over with one of our clients, and we did that. You guys could watch that training as well. We'll go over like the exact sales process that a concrete coating company should follow if they want to sell more deals and struggling maybe to convert some of their leads. But other than that, if there was any questions or anything we never answered for you guys, just put them in the comment section below and we'll get back to you guys. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.